Ladies and gentlemen, start your systems. Welcome to the new race director mode. Alright boys, so I wanted to get in here and talk about this new race director mode feature coming in Supercross 3, the official video game. Now, they haven't made their little Instagram little dive-in video on it yet, which I do really think they're going to do that soon before the actual release of the game, but this is something I have always wanted in basically any game out there. I mean, basically what this race director mode is a esports COD casting type mode to it where it's, you can set up like custom cameras, you can do professional events and be able to, kick people out of events and do all that kind of stuff. And I mean, theoretically, you could have like a protesting system and get up and, turn in a corner and somebody protests you and you get suspended for 2 weeks for nothing. Stuff like that. It's just great. I mean, but no, for real, it's, this is just something I think needs to be in any game out there. It's kind of like a replay mode to me in a way. Like I also think a replay mode needs to be in every single game out there, no matter what it is. And it's the same way with the race director or sort of COD casty esports kind of mode to the game. I think that should be in every single game out there. And the replay mode just adds so much. I mean, just think about if MX Simulator had no sort of replay mode, no sort of demo mode to it. God, you wouldn't be able to catch nowhere near the moments, and it's just so good for being able to, it's basically a way to record something without having to sit there and actually record it. And it's just so useful when it comes to YouTube and video making content and basically everything like that. And these milestone games have had a replay mode in them. Haven't they? I'm pretty sure, right? They got a replay mode. Or do they even have a replay mode? I don't even know if they have a replay mode in this shit, boys. I know they got a free camera mode. God damn, they may not even have a replay mode in here. Okay, so it doesn't actually seem like there's any sort of replay mode in these games. Interesting. I think I was getting confused because I know that there's a replay mode on like the standard Forza games and a lot of the car racing games. You got replay modes, and well, you did have them in Call of Duty there for a minute and some of the Black Ops, and you got them in MX Simulator, MX Bikes. I don't know if they're in the MX vs. ATV series. I'm not exactly sure, but this whole thing all kind of goes together, because once you start having this, COD casting esports sort of mode to it, then you really need a replay mode on top of that. That's kind of like once you get that, then you need this kind of thing, because when you're going in there and adjusting race results and going back and looking at like potential penalties, you really need a replay system to be able to actually show what went down in a certain incident on the track or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like you need a replay mode, and I don't necessarily think that's going to be coming with this race director mode. This is really bizarre. What game is there? I feel like there's another. Was there ever a milestone game that had an actual replay mode in it? Am I just missing it? I don't know. I had it in my head this whole time that there was a replay mode in this game. Damn. I guess there's actually not. The free camera mode kind of got me a little confused, thinking that there was because you got a free cam to take like pictures, but you don't have a replay mode in here. So interesting either way. But yeah, once you get the race director mode, you basically need a replay mode. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. Like, and like I say, I think every game needs a replay mode and a, like a professional where you can go through different cameras in the game and look at different things like an actual esports arena. And with MX Simulator, they're able to do that with certain, like, setting up certain cameras and commands. They're able to basically make like what you're seeing on real life Supercross, the cameras on the actual riders on the track and everything, and while they're actually, talking over the pro race itself in the live stream, then they can get in there with the cameras and make it look very, very similar to like what you'd be seeing on, real life coverage of, AMA Supercross and AMA Motocross. So it's a big deal. I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of a bigger deal on a game like MX Simulator that really has the professional championship and the money on the line and all that kind of stuff, because that's a big part to that game, right? Because it's got such the skill gap and such the realism that everybody wants to eventually work up to that professional racing point, and then being able to have the live casting and the custom cameras on the track and all that, and the live timing while they're doing the coverage of the live race. It all just adds to the life and the longevity of a game like MX Simulator. But I don't have anything against putting that in a game like, an arcade motocross game. I think it should be in there as well. I always talk about how, well, if you think you're a pro at the official Supercross game, you need to come play MX Sim. You ain't even shit on that game, right? But it's not to say that you can't have like a pro race sort of championship in the official Monster Energy Supercross game or some of these other arcade motocross games. I think that's just fine. I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I just think it's nowhere near to the level of what a motocross simulator's pro realm is like. That's all I was trying to get across by saying that. But I still think you should be able to have pro race championships, get the best of the best players, no matter what kind of game it is. You can create a professional meta out of any game out there, literally anything. You can make that sort of people that just master whatever kind of game it is. I guess I always just looked at it, if you're going to master a motocross game, like, you might as well master the one that's got the biggest skill gap to it and the most deepness to it and the most longevity and the most realism to it and all that, which is MX Simulator. But to each their own. You know what I'm saying? To each their own. I still think it just adds to what you can do in the game, even in an arcade game, when you have a codcaster mode and like a professional racing mode to the game and all that. But yeah, and especially if they can get them physics a little more skill gappy, like in error wise and stuff like that, it's got quite a bit more potential. Kind of going to be more like a Reflex Pro Racing Championship, like a Reflex Pro Racing game at some point. That'd be pretty cool if they could get it to that level. But either way, so let me read off to you exactly what they say on this race director thing on their website, okay? So they say, create the best online competitions, controlling and managing multiplayer races, choose the starting positions, assign penalties, decide the race settings, modify the final race results, and choose the cameras to focus on. So there's a lot going on with that, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot sort of unsaid there as well, like in that particular post on the race director features on their website. I mean, it said controlling and managing multiplayer races. So controlling it and managing it, you assign penalties. I guess you can do like, I don't even know what all that means. They got to fix that sniper in the stadium shooting you off your bike in 2.5 seconds when you barely lean back. Jesus Christ, Milestone, please fix that. I guess, I mean, obviously the standard penalties you could think of is like, being docked positions, being docked a certain amount of time in the race, whatever. But this gets more interesting if you can do this in like a full-blown championship scenario over like, weeks and weeks and weeks of real life, like one night of pro racing a week on the, next official Supercross game. Kind of like how they do in MX Simulator, and could you have like a championship situation and then be able to like suspend people for a round or 2 rounds to where that certain person is not able to race in the next race or 2 races? I don't know how extensive it really is going to be. Kind of just have to wait and see on that, but that's kind of what you can start getting into when it starts becoming like that, and it just makes it all like mainstreamed within the game versus you having to do it externally. A lot of times, like, kind of like how they do with MX Simulator, they're doing all that externally. That's not even actually in the game at all. They're doing the RF website, the protest, all that kind of crap. They're doing all that externally. They're doing it all on their own server with their own server rules and their own coding and their own scripts and their own crap. They're doing it all externally, so it seems as if Milestone's kind of trying to streamline that and make it to where you can do a lot of that in the game, which I think that's a great thing. Like I say, I think this needs to be in all games. all games should have a professional thing to it, like a codcasting mode and a replay mode, and a just so that if you ever do want to have some sort of more serious organized professional events or whatever, you can do that in whatever game that it is. That's what's going to take gaming to the next level, is when they've already been doing that for a while with games like Call of Duty and certain stuff like that, and but I think it's just going to get a lot more serious with all types of games in the future, and then it's just going to work up from there. And you're going to have some of these games on the main stage that haven't been on the main stage before, so it'd be pretty cool if they can get all that to that level and that next point in gaming. But yeah, so it says you can choose starting positions, assign penalties, decide the race settings. So what all is involved in race settings? I don't know what exactly that pertains to. Guess maybe they're kind of going along the lines of like, well, they already basically have the heat, like the heat with the right amount of people in it, the right amount of laps, the right amount of stuff, different from a main event. Maybe you could have a time qualifying. I don't really know what all this means exactly, but because you got to have a qualifying, right? There's a handful of things you sort of have to have if you're going to have a professional motocross or supercross championship in a video game. You kind of need like qualifying, you need some sort of heat racing script, you need main event racing, you need 250, 450 class, and all that just to be able to work properly. So we'll see if you'll be able to do all that in the settings of it, and not have to do too much external stuff. But and then being able to do it in a full championship situation, keep up with people's points, the whole nine. Like I say, be able to do the penalties, do suspensions, do everything. It'll be interesting if they can get it like that. I'm not sure if that's really what this is going to amount to from the beginning, but we'll see. I don't know exactly. Modify the final race results, so that's basically the docking positions or adding positions or whatever. I'm sure they'll give you the ability to black flag people in the middle of the race, and there's quite a few things that goes into this. And then it says focus on the camera, or choose the camera to focus on is what it says. So what that means is there's probably going to be like preset cameras on all the tracks in the game, or the ability to put your cameras where you want them to. And when I mean cameras, I mean like this is where they go back when they're actually doing the live stream on the pro race or whatever. That's the cameras that you're at, where you're kind of seeing the racing, but it's like in third person, but it's not right behind somebody. It's kind of like a free cam that's setting up kind of in the stadium in different areas and shit. How real life Supercross looks when you're seeing it on TV. It's the same thing. They're just trying to create it to where it'll look like an actual live event, and you can see what's going on, and they can, go back and forth through the different cameras, depending on, they're trying to get on the dudes in the front if they want to talk about them, or get on the dudes in the back, or, go wherever they need to over the whole track and be able to get a good viewpoint on where everybody's at and what's going on with it. So this is cool to see. We'll see how extensive it is when it comes out, but yeah, like I say, I think every game needs to eventually work up to this point where it's got the professional mode, casting mode to it, and the replay mode, and are you kidding me? Like, why does it seem like these Call of Duties go back and forth? Like, they'll have a replay mode, and then they won't have a replay mode. Then they'll have a replay mode, and they won't have a replay mode. Like, holy shit. Like, just put it in there. It should be in every game. Car racing games, first-person shooter games, fucking all of them. Like, you need a replay mode. That's such a big... There's just so much you can... And now with the modern day, a lot of people getting into content creation and YouTube and the whole 9 yards of all that, it just goes into that even more. I don't want to have to be sitting there recording every single second of my life in a game when I'm only going to take about 1/1,000,000th of that to put into a video. I don't have the fucking storage for that shit, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sit there and just record. It just makes your life so much easier when a game has a built-in recording setting, and the way MX Simulator works basically is if you race a race and then you leave that certain race, and you don't go save that demo, is what they call it, the replay, if you don't actually go save that replay, then it'll just automatically go away. So you kind of get that opportunity to go save it, right? Because you don't want it to just sit there and record every single thing that you're doing, but you just want to give the person the ability to go back and save that recording if they want to, right? That's kind of the big deal. And then it gets into being able to do so much more than you can do just by simply recording that gameplay. You can get into looking at it in different viewpoints. You can get into doing edits. You can do all these other things with a replay mode in a game that you can't just do simplistically by just recording the gameplay. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of amounts to a lot more than just simply being able to have pre-made recorded gameplay to a game. You know, there's a lot more to it than that. So, but either way, I'm happy that they're finally putting in this race director mode. I don't know if they're going to put a recording mode. I would think they would put it in this game at some point, but yeah. Either way, dudes, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later.